Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a test video to see if the tire configuration affects the crop destruction and how much it destroys of your crops. So this isn't going to be super specific. It's going to be kind of ratio based, and I'll kind of explain what I mean and just kind of what the test is itself. So we are going to test. We obviously have crop destruction turned on, because if you turn it off, this test doesn't matter. But we have a little test strip here. This is a field of barley that's been very well taken care of. So this is kind of the best of the best yield we can get. I have a tractor over here. I'm going to just hit cruise control and let it just drive however it goes. It's going to be in this configuration. Every time we load the save in, I'm just going to hit that wrench button to change the tire configuration, and then I'm going to hop in it and just hit cruise control to go across until it gets out. Then I'm going to turn it out of the way. And then, using this harvester over here, we're just going to harvest the strip to see what it is. Now, the strip will yield 1,893 liters of barley as it is. So we're going to see kind of how much we lose if we drive over it with different tire configurations. Now, I chose this tractor. It's a medium tractor. I chose it because if we go in the store, we look at, medium tractor. Yep, there we go. It's this guy right here. It has tons of brands. So it has Trelleborg, Michelin, Continental, Midas, BKT, Vredestein, and Nokian. So it has a lot of different ones, and it has tons of different configurations for the tires. So a total of, oh goodness, there's so many. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the chart that I'm going to document all this on, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about it. So as you can see here on the chart, we have crop destruction test at the top. We have the tire brand here on the left-hand side, the tire configuration, the yield that we're going to get when we harvest it, and then the difference from the test yield. So we have the test up here, 1893. Obviously, there's no difference here. So we'll put the difference here. So like, for example, if this we got, 1,500 liters, we put 393 over here. That would be quite the change. But yeah. So a couple things to note, different configurations. We have standard, and these are just the order they are in the store. So you have standard, then we have wheel weights is what WW stands for. Then we have wides. Wides and wheel weights. I don't expect the wheel weights to affect it at all, because I'm thinking more the wider the tire is, the more the destruction there's going to be. Wides, 2, which are a little bit wider than normal wides, then wides with weights. Rear twins, all twins, and there. Now, obviously, I can't test everything with every brand because it's not available for every brand. So you have Trelleborg up here. Then we have all the Michelin configurations, the Continental. We scroll down, we have all the Midas ones here, all the BKT ones here, the Vredestein, and then the Nokian at the bottom. So there's a ton of different tests we're going to do. I'm going to load this in and load it out so many times. This is going to take me a while, and we'll kind of go from there. If you guys want me to test like tracks and different tractors as well, let me know, and I'll do a separate video on that. But I think we're going to start off with this and see where we go, which should be quite interesting. So yeah, back to the story here. Again, I'll run through it, everything like that. It's the biggest thing, I think, or no, it's not the biggest engine configuration. Actually, maybe it is. I can't remember what I did, but it shouldn't matter a whole lot. And again, I'm just going to hit cruise control from here. So I'll just do the first test with you guys in, just so you guys can see the method. Our current configuration we have on this thing, I can't remember actually let me get myself out of flight mode here. If I customize, it's currently on narrows actually, so I want to start with standard. Let's go ahead and customize. We'll put it into that, and there we go. Get in it, and then just hit cruise control speed 3, and just let it drive through the field. And as you can see, it's destroying some of the crops just fine. It's not going in a straight line, which is okay. I just want it to do what it's supposed to do there. And then go to the harvester, and we're now going to harvest it. So you guys will see the results of the first one here. And again, it'll be the same every time because I'm just going to hit the cruise control. This isn't the most accurate scientifically speaking, but it should give you kind of a general idea, which is why I wanted to do it this way. I did a similar test in FS19, but I haven't done one for FS22 yet, so I'm trying to pre-record some stuff while I am off in FarmCon, and I figure, you know what? This wouldn't be a bad video to do, and I'm kind of curious to see what it does myself. All right, and get over to the end here. Boom. 1606, so that actually affected it quite a bit. So if I type that out, 1606 liters there. And then we take a calculator. Sorry, I'm doing this off camera right now. And we take 1893 minus the 1606. The yield difference is 287 liters, which is quite a bit of loss, quite honestly, just destroying a small chunk of a field. If you drove across, I mean, the field size is tiny here, but if you just drove all the way up this field, you'd be losing like 2,000 or 3,000 liters of crop. So that's a pretty big difference, and that's just standard tires. They aren't crazy wide or anything like that. I know at the angle, it probably destroyed more than going straight, but again, everything that we're going to test today is going to be at an angle. So There we go. I'm going to go ahead and reset. I don't need to move this, I guess, because we're just going to reset the game. So I'm going to go ahead and reset it and go from there and do all the tests, and I'll bring you guys back in at the very end so we can go over the results. All right, so I finished the last test. It took forever. Not gonna lie, I've just been loading and unloading this game for like 2 or so hours. Took forever to do this, but anyhow, the results are kind of interesting. There's not a huge variation between the tires across the board. You'll see obviously a fair improvement when you have twin tires and stuff like that. But let's just look at the results together here. So on here, obviously we have this all filled out. You can see the narrows across the board, and I did harvest all the times because sometimes you'll get a little bit different than I thought. Maybe we might get a different yield than that, but like a liter or two. But everything actually panned out for all the narrows to be no crop damage. Obviously, we knew that, but they all ended up being 1893. So no surprises there. One thing that, for the most part, not all the time, but for the most part, I noticed is kind of interesting. When you did like a tire type, you get, whatever the difference or whatever the yield was. But then when you did wheel weights, it would actually, you'd get a little bit more. So it reduced the loss. Excuse me. And you can see that, well, here to here and stuff like that. And I don't think that that's anything special. I think the reason it's doing that is since I'm just activating cruise control and letting the tractor ride. I think with the extra weight and the rear tires, I think it's helping keep the vehicle more straight and on the path that it needs to go. So it's causing less like turning, less variation, or less drifting in the field as it's driving through it, because the field's not a perfectly level field. So I think that's why that we're seeing a little bit of difference, which I didn't want it to be on a perfectly level field. I wanted the tires or the vehicles to drift a little bit to kind of include some of the turning, but also some of the straight aspect of it. So that's why I think that's happening. But there were times where it didn't work out that way. Here you can see they're the same. Here, actually, the wheel weights caused a loss for the Michelin, but in general, I mean, if you go through here, wides, then wides with weights had more. Wides 2, wides with weights, or wides 2 with weights had a little bit more yield. Only a liter difference, but still. And yes, the wides 2 are wider, like I suspected. So in general, you would have a lower yield compared to the regular wides, which makes sense because they're wider. So they're destroying a little bit more, but not a huge amount, just a touch more. So the crop destruction is actually fairly specific in what it destroys. And you can see that even moving a tire slightly more wider, or having a slightly wider tire, will destroy slightly more on the field. Then twins pretty much smoked it. All twins would occasionally do worse. I mean, the rear twins and all twins, since the rear twins stay the same, it's just now you're adding front twins to it. I expected these to be pretty close to the same, which here you can see they are. Let's find another one with twins on it. I think it's just these guys down here. And here you can see they pretty much are. You actually got a little bit more with the all twins, which is kind of funny, since there's definitely more tire going on there. But yeah, and then Nokian, we did, of course, test Nokian just like we tested the other brands. Excuse me. Here's kind of interesting with Nokian. There wasn't too much of a difference between the wides and wides 2. And then the communal tires were only slightly better than the wides there. So pretty similar across the board. The worst one for tires is obviously the twins. I think 47. See if there's anything worse than that. Yeah, 47. So the worst possible tires from this test are running Vredestein tires and having rear twins, which is funny that the all twins actually did better. So probably these two are probably, I would say, the worst. I bet if we tested this a bunch of times and this a bunch of times, I bet you we would get very similar results back and forth here, and there wouldn't be much of a difference. But yeah, quite a interesting test actually. It worked out most of the ways I thought it would, but not all the ways I thought it would. But that's what I got for you guys in terms of that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that test. Let me know if you want me to do any other additional tests down below in the description. I can't do all the tests, and if there's a test that only one of you is interested in, I probably can't do it. Can't really justify spending hours of my time to make a video on it. But anyhow, that's what I got for you guys for today. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos that I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.